the start of the movie, we see CCTV shots of a building at night. The place looks empty, and a man named George arrives inside the building, which is a morgue. He's starting his first night as a security guard. A female employee shows him around. They meet a doctor named Susie, who looks angry but doesn't speak. The employee then takes George to the bag and tag area where corpses are handled. George's job is to open the main gate and move the bodies to this room. The woman asks George if he is scared easily. He confidently says no, claiming he's used to it. However, she tells him people have seen paranormal things in this room. She once saw a dead body sit upright. She also mentions that the previous guard quit after his first night. George sees hair on a bone saw but doesn't mention it. The female employee takes him to his booth, shows him around, writes her number down, and leaves. A few hours later, George is asleep. The camera shows a mysterious figure. George wakes up when the person buzzes the door. He opens it but finds only a corpse bag. The person is gone. George wheels the corpse to the bag and tag room. Suddenly, the corpse comes to life and sits up. George is terrified but decides to check on the corpse. He unzips the bag and finds a deceased girl inside. Suddenly, she comes to life. Panicking, George runs and locks himself up in her room. He then calls the female employee, explaining what happened, but she thinks he's joking. George then sees the dead girl approaching on the video feed. She arrives outside his booth, scaring him even more. Meanwhile, the female employee is in the control room, and it's revealed that she and her team are filming a prank. The female employee is Emma. The prank is led by Marcus and his assistant, Dick. The ghost girl is an actress named Ayaka. They enjoy making scary noises in George's booth, but their fun stops when George pulls out a gun. Emma tries to warn Ayaka through the intercom, but Ayaka is not listening. Emma rushes to the scene, while Marcus tells the team, Susie, Tony, and JD, to stand down. Tony and Susie prepare to reveal themselves, but Ayaka scares George by screaming demonically. Before George can shoot, Emma arrives just in time and reveals it was all a prank. Emma takes the gun from George and discovers it's a toy. Marcus and the team arrive, and it's clear Marcus has wet his pants. Emma reveals to George that he's on the TV show Scare Campaign, but she looks angry as she walks away. The scene cuts to a casting session where Marcus interviews a girl named Abby for the new horror girl role. He asks her questions and makes her scream to test her acting. Abby is a natural, so Marcus hires her immediately. Marcus gets a call from their boss, Vicky, for an urgent meeting. He then goes to Dick's room, where Dick is showing some edits. Emma abruptly announces she's quitting, but Marcus manages to convince her to complete the season. It's revealed that Marcus and Emma used to be a couple and are still close. Later, the team gathers to plan their next prank. Marcus announces they'll film at an abandoned mental asylum closed since the 90s. Shortly after, Vicky arrives with news from a dark website called Masked Freaks. She shows a video of a fake human sacrifice the team, then bursts out in laughter upon watching it, as they believe that the acting is horrible. However, Vicky says that the main thriller is about to begin. Then, Marcus and his team are shocked when some creepy figures in masks surround the actors and brutally kill them one by one. Vicky explains that the Masked Freaks are hugely popular, with over 15 million subscribers paying to watch. She criticizes Scare Campaign's declining ratings and gives them one last chance to create a successful episode. If it fails, she threatens to cancel the show. Now, the team faces a tough challenge. They must make their next prank a great success. Next, we're at the abandoned asylum where the team has set up cameras in every room. Abby, the new girl, gets ghost makeup. Emma, still worried, asks Marcus about their new target, Rohan. He reassures her that everything is fine. Rohan arrives. Dick spots him on camera, and they start their prank. Emma, dressed as a nurse, talks to Rohan in the garden. He mentions he used to work there. Emma says they're opening a children's therapy center soon and need a groundskeeper. Rohan sees Abby as a ghost by the window. Susie, disguised as a gardener, distracts him. When Rohan looks back, Abby is gone. He asks if she's a patient, but Emma says they haven't admitted anyone yet. She leads Rohan to her office for an interview and pretends to open a letter with a letter opener. Rohan mentions he used to live in the asylum and becomes upset when he sees a picture on the wall. When Emma asks about it, he angrily tells her to mind her own business. In the meantime, Marcus calls, alerting her to start the prank. But Emma doesn't feel right and tries to stop him, but Marcus ends the call. Angry, Emma leaves to confront Marcus, leaving Rohan alone. Marcus and Dick start the next part of the prank. They open the door while playing the scary noises of a little girl. This lures Rohan out of the room. Susie signals and uses a ball to guide Rohan's attention to Abby until he sees the ghost girl. He isn't intimidated and starts following Abby while Marcus and the team watch closely. He reaches a creepy room upstairs where Tony, the cameraman, is hiding. Emma watches through the screen as Marcus gives the go-ahead for Abby to confront Rohan. Just then, Emma realizes her letter opener is missing from her office. She tries to stop the prank, but it's too late. When Rohan sees Abby, he attacks her with a weapon, shocking the crew. They desperately try to stop him over the intercom, but he ignores them. Rohan then turns on Tony, strangling him brutally. Emma rushes to help with a screwdriver but finds Tony dead and Abby thrown out of the window. Marcus warns Emma over the intercom to run as Rohan approaches. He chases her through the asylum. Emma asks Marcus about Rohan's past. Marcus reveals he was a former patient who committed brutal crimes. Upset, Emma curses at him as she keeps running. She enters a dark room and sees a camera, but Marcus says there are no cameras there. Terrified, she runs upstairs and finds Susie, who lets her in. Before Emma can explain, Rohan breaks in and kills Susie. Emma watches in horror. She quickly runs away from there, and the chase continues. After a while, he corners her against a locked door and is about to kill her. Just in time, JD opens the door and saves Emma. They barricade themselves inside and contact Marcus and Dick in the control room, begging them to call the police. Marcus and Dick hesitate, dealing with legal issues first. Suddenly, Rohan enters their room and kills everyone one by one. Emma and JD watch helplessly on camera. Realizing they're next, Emma and JD decide to flee. They head for their team's van, but JD can't find the keys. He runs to the control room for spares, leaving Emma alone. Emma locks the windows, waiting anxiously. To her horror, Rohan appears in the back seat. She stabs his hand with a screwdriver and escapes. Rohan screams in pain, and here his true character is revealed. He too is an actor, and all the crew members are still alive. The actual victim of this terrifying prank is none other than poor Emma. Now, Rohan, in severe pain, blames Marcus for his situation. Marcus tries to calm him, but Rohan angrily ends the conversation, fed up. He removes the screwdriver from his hand. Just when it seems the ordeal is over, two masked figures appear with cameras. Rohan thinks they're part of the show, but they brutally attack and kill him. Meanwhile, Marcus tells his team to stay put while he deals with Rohan. Shortly after, Dick notices strange camera glitches in the control room and tries to fix them. On the other side, Emma arrives in a room where she shockingly sees Dick's live feed on a laptop. When he spots her, he quickly turns off his camera, realizing his mistake. Seconds later, he finds himself surrounded by numerous masked men on the cameras. As they point their cameras towards him, one of them strangles him with a control pole and slices his head off. Now, Emma, suspicious and alarmed, investigates the laptop and discovers videos revealing the entire ordeal was a cruel prank aimed at her. She confronts Marcus on camera, demanding he show himself, but he remains silent. Meanwhile, masked figures, who own some of the cameras, begin to act. Marcus arrives at the van to find Rohan dead. Panicked, he tries to call for help but fails to get a signal and Dick doesn't respond. Suddenly, he sees the masked figures approaching. Recognizing them from the dark web video, Marcus realizes his team is in danger and flees. On the run, Marcus encounters Emma, who punches him in anger. He tries to warn her about the real danger they're facing now that Rohan is dead, but Emma doesn't believe him. The masked intruders arrive, and Emma initially fights back, thinking it's still part of the prank. When one of them pushes her down aggressively, she realizes the threat is real. Just as the masked figures prepare to attack, they receive a message on their intercom, prompting them to retreat temporarily. After the masked figures retreat, Emma and Marcus rush to find Abby. They discover JD dead in a bloody scene with a camera attached to his mutilated body. Marcus plays a video showing how the killers barged into the room, killed JD, and forcefully took Abby away. The leader of the group instructs Emma and Marcus to go to the control room if they want to find Abby. With no other choice, they comply. As they head to the control room, Emma grabs a weapon for protection. Inside, they see a gruesome scene, blood dripping from Susie's hanging body and footage of Tony being sawed in half. The leader of the masked freaks appears on screen, explaining they're doing this for their audience's entertainment. He shows a video of Abby buried alive, giving her only 5 minutes before she suffocates. Emma and Marcus rush to save Abby, encountering a masked killer along the way. Emma defends herself by stabbing him, only to discover he's just a young boy when she removes his mask. Following this, the two arrive at the location where Abby is buried and manage to rescue Abby from the coffin just in time. But, to their dismay, they are surrounded by the masked men. The leader reveals that their viewers want Emma to stay alive and gives her a choice to save one friend. Marcus sacrifices himself, allowing Emma to save Abby. Emma quickly takes Abby to the van and escapes to seek help, leaving Marcus behind. In the final scene, Marcus wakes up in a room where he witnesses one of his friends being brutally treated by the masked freaks. He condemns them for their lack of creativity and only indulges in cruelty, criticizing their lack of depth or meaningful storytelling. But, in a surprising twist, Marcus sees a video clip and learns that Abby was secretly working with the masked killers all along, revealing their entire plan. Marcus, impressed by this unexpected turn, compliments the killers. The masked figures then carry Marcus on a stretcher toward a furnace, where he is to be incinerated. Meanwhile, Emma and Abby drive through the darkness. Emma notices a camera in the van, making her suspicious and silently regretting her decision to save her over Marcus, her ex-love, hinting the prank is not over yet. And with that, the movie concludes.